This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com. And if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Cancer and Cancer rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Aquarius, happening on the 12th of August at 11:36 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So if you are wanting to do your spell work or do your moon rituals, you can do that either on the 11th or the 12th, the night of. Either way, split the difference. The full moon is becoming exact at lunchtime. So on either side of that is the perfect time to do it. You can do it both if you wanted to. It's going to be a lovely bright full moon again, so there'll be lots of clarity that will arrive to us, I imagine. How was your triple conjunction? Was it good? If you remember, Mars and Uranus and the North Node all came into exact conjunction around the 31st, the 1st of August. And that was potential for some combustive revolution. There was something of a tower moment that may have occurred for you in some which way. It was fiery and revolutionary, and it's also not over yet. We're sort of feeling the ripple effects of that now. These aspects don't sort of happen one day and they're gone the next, you know, that it's energy that is sort of present in our atmosphere, and we work with that. We work with those lessons and we sort of do our best to move on and move through and work with it as best we can. So in your experience, there could have been some combustion there. There could have been an instance where your idea of your community was kind of rattled or rocked, or there could have been something really kind of revolutionary or positive that you experienced around the dates of the 31st or the 1st of August. To zoom out and remember what Taurus means for the collective, Taurus is earth and the land and the material physicality of being. In Australia, our fresh government is on the road making active steps and declarations towards an Indigenous voice to Parliament, which is a revolution and a very passionate, forward-moving idea that is a very intrinsic point of focus for us and blissful in a lot of ways. So this is an example of how those aspects, how those conjunctions, whatever, can manifest in our living world in really bountiful ways. You must remember that all of the planets are on your side. They're all doing their best to help serve. Sometimes they have fights up there, which is one way to describe it. Sometimes their energies are competing or conflicting depending on what houses they're in, and they might be working against one another or they might be feeling out of their depth. In this instance, and in the Australian experience, and with there is pushback, there is sort of detonation too. I mean, we've got that tweet that, the clown amongst us had lots to say and refused to do other things and is still sort of bitterly hanging on to the old ways. But Uranus is sort of, it's Uranus in Taurus, the land, the earth, is saying, no, this is happening. This is movement and it's essential. So that's the sort of positive, high vibrational manifestation of that energy. That could, if you're watching this from somewhere in my country, then that could be how it manifested for you. That could be your example. That could be looking outwards to your community, to humanity, to your, your environment, and seeing those changes occur and feeling really grateful for them. The moon in Aquarius is in your 8th house, which is quite a difficult house to put into too many words. If you know the tarot very well, it's the death card. And not to be feared, death is regeneration, isn't it? Death is rebirth and reconstruction. So the 8th has a lot to do with that space. The 8th house is death physically. The 8th house is birth physically. The 8th house is resurgence. It's coming again. It's understanding the cyclical nature of our experience here and really reconciling with that. In other ways, it can be to do with some soul contracts that we have. It can be to do with taxes, it can be to do with inheritance, it can be to, sort of fiscal sort of stuff. But really, I think the 8th house is more of a water space. It's more emotional than that. And it's soul contracts is a really good way to put it. That's as simple as that. So at a full moon, it's the perfect opportunity to sing back to Luna what you are ready to let go of and what you are ready to release. One way of looking at it might be ancestral binds. If we go back to that idea of tax or inheritance, there's a lot of ancestral vows that can be released in the 8th house. There can be, and this could be past lives, this could be this lifetime. But depending on which way your brain is going, as you're listening to me talk, depending on what you're sort of thinking about and what's coming up for you in that description of the 8th house, this is a great time to actively cut the cord on something and to let it go back to the Aquarian full moon. Remember, Aquarius is about, if we go back to Taurus in the 11th for you, Aquarius is the sign of greater humanity and the greater understanding of consciousness. So in that way, your 8th house is linked to that notion. There's something in you, Cancer, that is kind of, you're very generous with that sort of free-flowing emotion of the 8th house. You do consider other people when it comes to their grief or their pain points or their moments of turbulence. So I'll talk about the tarot now as well. We're on to something here, Cancer. So Saturn is still in Aquarius. Saturn, remember the physicality of the look of the planet. Saturn is boundaries. And the moon and Saturn are in conjunction at this time. So they're in sisterhood. They're arm in arm, supporting one another in a lot of ways. So they're being blasted with that beautiful warm Leo sun, and the idea of boundaries is really important right now. So think about your 8th house. Think about everything I've just said. Soul contracts, rebirth, death, grief, all of that kind of stuff, regeneration, and think about the boundaries that you need in order to not slip down that slipstream too quickly. Think about the boundaries that it takes in order to deal and to help others in their grief body. Think about the moment that you need to step away in order to regenerate and fill up your own tank in order to access and tackle these spaces. To have an Aquarian 8th house is perfect for a Cancerian soul because it does go to show how concerned and involved and available you are to other people when it comes to the crunch, when it comes to their difficulty in dealing with these really sort of, and it's taboo is another word for the 8th house. It's stuff that's not discussed in polite society, but that's not where you rest in that 8th house, Cancer. You are really ready for it, and your Aquarian ability, your Aquarian access is ready for it. Does need boundaries. So we'll go to the tarot now and we'll have a look at this. There's 3 figures that have made an active decision to move away from turbulence. You can see the turbulent water here, and you can see the flatness and the stillness of where they're headed. More water, more emotion, but a time of reflection, a time to recoup. The swords represent our thoughts, and too many swords can be a detriment, can be an undoing. 6 swords in this, it's still a grey sky. It's not, it's not it's not happy-go-lucky, but there's a protection here, and I would suspect that maybe we can read this card today as boundaries. So instill the boundaries of Saturn as you approach this 8th house full moon. That would be some really good advice for you, particularly if the turbulence of the triple conjunction of Mars and Uranus in the North Node, the combustion, was a lot to deal with. Perhaps it could be to do with maybe friendship groups that you have, or it could be to do with your, your understanding of humanity. Maybe your mind's been heavy with the weight of the world and all of the different things that keep on activating. And, let's not forget that, there are a lot of us on this planet that are suffering quite severely right now. And I'm sure that that's in your conscious awareness, Cancer. And I think that this might be a moment to reinstill some boundaries, and not because you don't care and not because it's better just to look away, but it's essential for someone so watery and with so much access to emotion. Boundaries are essential. Mental clarity, intelligence is essential. So look at this 6 of Swords and look at it in terms of how can you make this card work for you at this full moon? That would be some really good advice, I think. Okay, so I'm going to pull you some intuitive tarot, my lovely Cancers, and then I'll set you off into the ether, into the evening of this full moon. But Spirit, please, I need 3 cards for my Cancerian souls, my Cancer risings, my Cancer suns, my Cancer Venuses, my Cancer moons. Oh, actually, probably especially my Cancer moons as well. We're talking about all this emotional water. But 3 cards. What can we say to Cancer? Got the 9 of Pentacles, and this is lovely because this has just come out, this card, for the previous reading that I did, and there's a lot to be said with this one, so I'm going to enjoy telling you as well. But 2 more cards, please. Oh, that's 3. That will do. Okay, great. I know what to say. Okay, can you see them? I feel like it's play school. Can you see them, children? Okay, so you're about to begin something really important. You have the cosmic egg in your reading, Cancer. You have the Fool, the very beginning and the very end of the tarot. This card starts it and finishes it and starts it again. To harness the Fool's energy, we've got to remember that phrase from Genesis Piorge. If you don't know who that is, look them up. See a cliff, jump off. That's how Genesis Piorge, they were a beautiful, incredible artist and musician. And that was how they described experiencing love. See a cliff, jump off. Like a lovely essence in that simple phrase. You're about to experience this, and you're going to have to juggle quite a lot. You've got to juggle those pentacles from this space here, and I think this is you probably at the full moon. I really want you to sit amongst your tomato plants and reflect. If you've got a garden, go out and sit in there and just have a little look around and go, oh, this is lovely. Look what I've made. This is beautiful. Because we're coming up to a space where you may have to hang on to that feeling of self-accomplishment. And do you remember the 4 of Pentacles that came out in a couple of other readings? That's the idea of loosening the grip. I think that there's something here that is encouraging you to do the same. So I don't know if money's been a problem. I don't know if it's been on your mind. I think that you're being sort of encouraged to remember that your abundance is all around you, and that to loosen your grip on some of the worry, because this new cycle, this Fool energy, the seeing a cliff and jumping off, is going to have you nosedive into a space of excitement and sort of, balancing act, absolutely. But look at that infinity symbol there. Look at that 8 there. There's a real kind of movement that I can feel in this space. It's to do with material value as well. So if we think of pentacles, when we see the pentacles, we think either money or sort of talents or skills, something like that. So you're coming into a space where you're going to have to do a little bit of juggling to make it all balance out. But it's coming after the Fool, which is really fresh, exuberant, vital energy. So it's something, it's a juggling act, but it's one that's very much welcome and invited. So at this full moon, I'll pull out the 6 of Swords again. So at this full moon, remember boundaries and remember whatever emotional turbulence that you may be experiencing. If there's stuff that's cropping up in the water body or in that 8th house that you just sort of really need to kind of work with or move away from. Perhaps you need to move away from turbulence in order to work with it and in order to really let it sort of land and to sort of see where it sits for you. The pentacles represent our body as well. So maybe some lovely grounding exercises might be great at this full moon. It might be, my mum always tells me to stick my feet in the dirt or have a bath with some salt in it. Anything that you can do to remember that gravity is for a purpose, to keep you here on this planet for the time being. That's your reading, Cancer. Your sand's all gone. So I hope that there was something in there for you. Much love to you. I love you loads. Enjoy the full moon. This one's, I feel, kind of really balanced with this one. Today's gone off without a hitch. And that's a nice sign for me in some ways that we're coming up to a clearing in our coping mechanisms with all that is shifting and changing in our realities. So, love you. Tip me at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby if you want. You don't have to. Or you can head to umaruby.com and book yourself a birth chart reading. And that I would recommend. I've had a beautiful week with multiple different journeys that I've traveled down with different folks, different people that I am so grateful to have been able to be the one with the lantern. It was a lovely experience on all counts. And we used tarot, we used astrology, and there's a lot to be discovered if you're a little bit lost at the moment. Anyhow, much love to you. I'll speak to you in 2 weeks at the new moon in Virgo. Take care, Cancer. Bye.